Hi there, this is Hallie, Kettlebell Mama, and I'm here to guide you through a mobility routine to help you prepare for labor and birth. So we're really going to focus on finding more space and expansion, releasing tension from our pelvic floor, our hamstrings, our glutes. So it is a very gentle and expansive quality mobility routine. All right, you're going to need a ball. Now, this ball is actually a little bit small. I would recommend one that comes up more to your hip height. I just don't have one of those right now. But see if you can get a really nice big physio ball. It'll really help with your laboring positions as well if it's a little bit taller and bigger. Okay, but what we're gonna do is get started with some pelvic movements on the ball. So you're gonna sit down and have your feet flat on the floor. And you can have your hands on your knees and the thighs. You can have your hands on your hips. And we're gonna work with just some gentle pelvic rotations. So I'm gonna think of making a circle on the ground as if the bottom of my pelvic floor were drawing with a crayon or something like that, making a circle. So I'm gonna think about going forward, to the right, to the back, to the left, and back to the front. And I'm trying to keep the rest of my body somewhat stable, but you know, if you feel like your neck might get involved with it a little bit as you breathe, kind of going with the flow, that's fine too. And I want you to try to inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth, and with every exhale, just letting your jaw relax, releasing tension, because our jaw and our pelvic floor have a pretty direct relationship, and if there's a lot of tension and clenching in our jaw and our neck muscles, then usually that brings more tightness to our pelvic floor as well. So that was about 5 rotations in that direction. We're just gonna pause and reverse the rotations, going in the opposite direction for about 5 circles. You know, I wasn't truly counting, so if you did more, that's okay. And again, we're just trying to relax our pelvic floor muscles as much as possible. So make sure you're not clenching and tightening up with your vaginal or pelvic floor muscles at all. We want to release that tension. One more that way. And then come back to the center, and we're gonna do some pelvic tilts now. So imagining like we're scooping up and forward and then reaching up and back. And we can inhale as we go forward and exhale as we reach our tailbone back. Just moving with your breath. We're moving through an anterior pelvic tilt and a posterior pelvic tilt. And the reason why we're going forward on the inhale and releasing back on the exhale is because the exhales when our pelvic floor muscles here are more open and stretched wide. And that's what we want as we exhale and push our baby out. We want to think about relaxing our pelvic floor, opening our pelvic floor like a flower blossoming open as we exhale. Let's do a few more of those. Last one. And now we're going to come to where our pelvis is underneath our rib cage, and we're going to make a U shape now. So I'm going to go up to the left, swoop down through center, and up to the right. And I can put my hands on my hips if that helps. Again, do what feels good for you, but it's just a lateral motion that we're getting side to side. And this can help release our perineum and our sit bone, the muscles that join our sit bones together, the webbing kind of our nest of our pelvic floor. because our pelvic floor is so, dynamic and complex. It has many muscles that all intertwine and connect together. So we want to move our pelvic floor and our pelvis in many different directions. Remembering to breathe. Let's do one more to each side. Awesome. Now we're going to stand up. And again, if your ball is bigger, it's more ideal for this. But we're going to get into a nice wide stance with our elbows on the ball. You can also use a bed or a table for this. But we're going to have support with the ball for our elbows here. And what I'm going to do is just lunge gently side to side, stretching my inner thigh and my groin and my pelvic floor muscles as I shift from right to left. And now this, of course, can feel a little intense with the weight of baby, so make sure that it feels safe for you. If you're a little bit higher, you're going to feel a little less of that kind of, weighted sensation. So if you have a bed that you'd like to put your hands on instead, or be up on your hands, you can do that as well. But we're just trying to find a nice stretch in the hamstring and glute as well as we lunge to that side. Shifting over, imagining that your chest and sternum is pulling forward as your sit bones are widening back. Let's do one more, just like that to each side. Awesome. And then we're going to come down on the floor and go into a tall kneeling position. And again, this is nice to have the support of the ball for this. We're going to hinge our hips back as we reach the ball forward. Inhaling here. And exhale, coming up into that tall posture. So we're just finding a nice sense of the sit bones widening open. And exhale. Feel free to move extra slow through this. Two more. Last one. Awesome. And now we're going to take one foot to the side. I'll just turn a little so you can see me better. So we're in a half kneeling position, but we're open, abducting this hip out to the side. And you're going to use the ball again just for some support. You don't necessarily need it, but it's nice to have for peace of mind. And we're going to lunge laterally, opening and stretching the inner thigh here and the groin muscles, the pelvic floor, as we shift our weight over toward these toes. And then I'm going to just drive back up out of it. Feel free to adjust your foot if you need to. Inhaling into the stretch. Exhaling, coming out of it. Just moving with your breath. Again, inhaling through the nose. And exhale out of the mouth. This can be a really nice laboring position to do, an active stretch. Especially if baby is in mid-pelvis, this asymmetrical position can help them rotate and descend more deeper into your pelvis. So it's a good one to do. You can do it standing on your base leg as well with your foot up on the bed or a stool to modify it and stand, and maybe your partner can help hold you and take some of your weight. There's lots of different positions that you can labor in, so feel free to send me a comment below or an email, and I can send you my labor and positions guide that I have. It's a PDF, and it goes through some really good tips on all the different ways and positions that you can labor in and their benefits. I'm just going to turn this way. We're going to switch legs. Okay, so having that opposite foot up And again, just using the ball for support. You could do this in more of a, hinged position with your chest forward if that feels okay. Might not feel great to do that for long because of the weight of your shoulders, and it might build up some tension in your neck, but totally up to you. Again, finding that stretch. Inhale, feeling release of tension here. Exhale, come out of it. This routine is all about finding a more sense of openness and expansion. So we're just trying to help create space for baby. Often if we have too much tension and tightness in our pelvic floor, people with hypertonic pelvic floors tend to have longer labors, right? Because our muscles are just too tense to let baby descend. So this is a routine that you can do to help ensure that you're getting some release of tension in your pelvic floor muscles, your hip muscles, all the surrounding areas that can really play a critical role in your birth of your baby. One more time here. Awesome. And then we're just going to come down. Ooh, there's a leaf. We're just going to move the ball to the side and come down on our elbows and our forearms. And this is something that you can do again on the ball, but I like to just do it on the floor. And we're just going to rock forward and back. Inhaling as you come forward, exhaling as you rock back. And obviously, I'm not pregnant, so I don't have the baby bump. It might feel more comfortable to be up on the ball, depending on how mobile you feel, how strong you feel. So please feel free to modify by placing your elbows on top of pillows or cushions even, or do it standing on the bed. But we're inhaling as we're coming forward, exhaling as we feel those sit bones and pelvic floor wide and open and back. And again, this is another great position that you can labor in on your big day. Let's do that a few more times. One more. Inhaling, reaching forward. Exhaling, rocking back. And then just come up into a tall kneeling position. And you can do this seated on a ball as well. Actually, I'm going to do that too, just so I can fully focus on my breath and relax my lower body. So you can place your hands on your baby bump or on your thighs, maybe one hand on the baby bump, one hand on your chest. And we're just going to do some nice visualization of our pelvic floor blossoming open with every inhale as we breathe in and expand fully. And then as we exhale, just imagining that we can hold that sense of opening as we breathe out. Inhale, expand. And exhale, hold that sense of expansion. Do a few more breaths like that. Remember to relax your face and jaw and neck muscles. One more big breath in. All right, thank you so much for joining me. Remember to come back to this routine on a regular basis, especially if you're at the end of your pregnancy or toward the end of it. It's just a great habit to get into to really release tension from our pelvic floor muscles, which is necessary for labor and birth and for baby to be able to come into this world. All right, let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you next time. Bye.